The guillotine is one of the most infamous execution devices in human history. Often associated with terror, revolution, and public spectacle, it was originally designed with a very different purpose in mind. In the late 18th century, executions in Europe were brutal, unequal, and often slow. Methods varied depending on social class. Nobles were usually beheaded with a sword, while common people were hanged, burned, or broken on the wheel. These executions were not only painful, but inconsistent and frequently botched. In 1789, during the early days of the French Revolution, a physician and politician named Dr. Joseph Ignace Guillotine proposed a radical idea. He did not invent the machine itself, but he advocated for a single, humane method of execution for all citizens, regardless of class. Guillotine argued that if the state must execute, it should do so quickly, painlessly, and equally. His proposal was part of the revolutionary ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity. The actual mechanical design was created by Antoine Louis, a surgeon, and built by a German harpsichord maker named Tobias Schmidt. The device featured a tall wooden frame and a heavy angled blade designed to ensure a swift decapitation. In 1792, France became the first country to officially adopt the guillotine as its primary method of execution. The first person executed by guillotine was Nicolas Jacques Pelletier, a highway robber, on April 25, 1792, in Paris. The execution was quick, but the crowd was disappointed. Many expected a longer, more dramatic spectacle. That disappointment would not last long. During the Reign of Terror, 1793 to 1794, the guillotine became a symbol of revolutionary justice and fear. Public executions became frequent, efficient, and relentless. Among the most famous victims was King Louis XVI, executed on January 21, 1793. His wife, Queen Marie Antoinette, followed 9 months later. Their deaths marked the complete collapse of the French monarchy. The guillotine did not discriminate. Nobles, revolutionaries, clergy, scientists, and even former heroes of the revolution met the blade. One of the most ironic victims was Maximilien Robespierre, one of the architects of the Reign of Terror himself. In July 1794, Robespierre was arrested, wounded, and executed by the same machine he had used to eliminate his enemies. The guillotine spread beyond France. It was used in Belgium, Switzerland, Greece, and even parts of German states. In French colonies, it followed the reach of empire. Despite its horrific reputation, supporters continued to argue that the guillotine was one of the least painful execution methods ever devised. Medical debates even emerged about whether consciousness persisted for a few seconds after decapitation, adding to the machine's dark mystique. Public executions with the guillotine continued in France well into the 20th century. Crowds gathered, newspapers reported, photographs were taken. The last public guillotine execution occurred in 1939 when Eugen Weidmann, a convicted murderer, was executed outside a prison in Versailles. The event caused outrage due to the behavior of spectators, leading France to end public executions altogether. However, the guillotine itself was not yet abandoned. France continued to use the guillotine for private executions until 1977, when Hamida Jandoubi was executed in Marseille. He became the last person ever executed by guillotine. In 1981, France officially abolished the death penalty, permanently ending the use of the guillotine. What began as a symbol of equality and humane justice became one of history's most chilling icons. The guillotine reminds us how ideals, once weaponized, can transform instruments of reform into tools of terror.